I want to know how you feel about Yuji's power-ups. Are they an ass pull?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, they all have valid reasons on why he's getting stronger. He ate the curse wounds, got blood manipulation. Okay. They've been training for like months. So, and he had he had one solid blood manipulator to teach him how to use it, which is his brother. So him being pretty good at that is not bad. They are saying the body remembers. It's like muscle memory. So since Sukuna was in his body using all these special grade curse techniques, his body remembers it. So that like makes it easier for him to do it. Like that makes sense. Like if I do something a lot, or let's say this is so like all theoretical, but let's say Steph Curry was in my body. Pause. Like his mind, his brain was in my skull, right? So now
Okay.
Steph Curry is controlling my body, and he just goes and just starts shooting the basketball, like just shooting, going crazy, and then we swap brains back. Like my muscles, because muscle memory is a real thing. Like you just remember it. Like I do think it would have to be a bigger time period because Sukuna's really only had control of Yuji for how many times? 3 times in total.
Well, let's be real. The only time that it really matters as far as like experience getting engraved is probably Shibuya.
No, because he used his domain a couple times as Yuji.
He uses domain against that one finger curse, and then he beat up Megami for a little bit. But I think the main part is Shibuya for sure.
And he used it. Well, he didn't use it on Mahito, but he was talking to Mahito like, hey, like,
yeah.
So
yeah, Sukuna's taken over his body a few times. Yeah,
three to 4 times. The main
one where he does all his moves is Shibuya.
Right, but that's a big battle. He fought freaking Maharaga, bro. So like he was using everything.
Right, he fought Jogo and Maharaga.
I'll say for muscle memory to take place, you gotta do something more than once. So I can say that's kind of like, all right, that's kind of like, But since he's just sinking, like he's basically a curse tool. They were saying he's just been imbued in Sukuna's curse energy for so long.
Right. So, and we learn he's made for it.
Yeah, and his body is literally made for it. And Jujutsu sorcery is mainly based on, like Gojo said himself, it's not based on like how hard you work. Like 80% of it is just on latent potential, like pure, whatever it's not skill. It's just based on, I can't think of the word I'm trying to say.
What you're born with.
Yeah.
Inherited.
So I mean, he was literally designed to be a vessel for Sukuna, so he's born with a huge amount of potential, essentially. So
true.
Like he was made for that specifically. So I don't think it's an ass pull.
I think most people's sentiment is that it was deserved. I think it's deserved because he needs some kind of power up, and all these things that he has have been foreshadowed in the past. In the very beginning with Gojo saying that he would get Sukuna's technique, him being related to Chozo or being the son of Kenjaku in some shape, way, or form. And then there was also, people pointing to this little scene in the manga where Sukuna first turned into Megami, and then after the fight, there was this little panel where Sukuna had like this very small like cut on his finger, and it was like zoomed in, and nothing came of that. And people were like, oh, Yuji has slices, Yuji has slashes, it's there. So there's definitely been a lot of foreshadowing. And I like that in the span of just like a couple weeks, Gojo went from the crazy guy that can't really believe the stuff he said to all of a sudden like being a prophet. I don't think his power up was an ass pull. Also, another thing I think that Gege did well to not make it feel like that is because it's still weak. It would be different if like he just like blasted Sukuna's head off with his blood manipulation, or his slashes were like equal to Sukuna's or like more powerful. Then I'll be like, okay, like this is crazy. But the fact that the addition of the powers hasn't really changed his game that much, he's still like a close range fighter and they're not super powerful. It makes it feel less of an extreme power up,